Welcome to our brand new masterclass, Save Your Marriage Fast, the 3 proven pillars to rapidly transform your relationship in just 90 days. Even if your partner has checked out, moved out, or you're feeling hopeless about working things out. I'm Chris and I'm here today with Grant.
Hello, everyone.
And if you're here today, you're probably feeling the deep pain of a relationship in crisis. Perhaps you're lying awake at night with that knot in your stomach, wondering if your marriage really is over. Maybe you've achieved everything you wanted in your career, but now face losing what matters most, your family and the person you once loved deeply.
So you're not just dealing with surface challenges like communication breakdowns or a lack of intimacy. The real pain often runs much deeper. That ache in your heart as you watch your relationship slipping away, the sadness of seeing your children sense the tension between their parents, and the frustration of being successful in business but struggling in your most important relationship.
Or the fear of losing your family and everything you've built together over a lifetime. But here's what we want you to know. There is hope, even if your partner has given up. Just as a wise friend once told us, this doesn't have to be the end. In this masterclass, you'll discover the exact steps to stop your relationship breakdown and create positive momentum, how to rebuild trust and connection even after serious setbacks, a proven path to recreating deep intimacy and friendship, specific tools to reignite love and passion, and the 3 pillars that underpin the 9 principles that transform relationships, even when traditional counselling falls short. A clear roadmap to save your marriage in just 90 days using our Aroha Rapid Transformation Method.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, so first, let's be clear about who this masterclass is for. You're a successful business owner or you're a professional committed to strengthening your relationship. You've likely been together many years, you've got children, and see your relationship as priceless, or you're willing and able to invest the time, focus, and energy to transform your partnership. You've been successful in other areas of life, but you're struggling in your relationship and you dream of a better future together. You can decide on your own to improve your relationship rather than staying stuck, waiting for your partner to change.
And look, to be upfront, this isn't for you if your relationship is physically abusive, if there are addiction problems that need addressing first, or if you just want to blame your partner rather than take responsibility.
So let's introduce ourselves. So we're Grant and Christine Watty, best known for helping couples on the brink of relationship breakdown to rapidly transform their partnership using our innovative approach, which is the Aroha Rapid Transformation Method.
And our own story begins in an unexpected place, the Royal Palaces of Malaysia. As portrait photographers from New Zealand, we found ourselves capturing images of kings, sultans, and other dignitaries. We had what looked like the perfect life, gold watches with royal crests, limousines, and a thriving international business.
Those were the days, eh?
But inside our own home, our celebrity status and material success felt very empty and hollow. That warm September afternoon in the Belmont Hills, I sat numb and heartbroken in our yellow room, and I could quietly hear Grant's sobs coming from the kitchen. We had everything except what matters most, real love and connection.
So just when our relationship seemed beyond repair, a very wise friend, told us this doesn't have to be the end. That thread of hope sparked our remembering of what we once enjoyed together and our complete transformation. We chose to go all in on saving our marriage.
And we did it the long way. We went and studied counselling. We connected with world-leading mentors. We read every relationship book we could find, and we attended groundbreaking workshops. Not only did we save our own marriage, but what we discovered were the exact principles that have since helped thousands of couples step back from the brink and create lasting love.
So today we're going to bring our unique qualifications to this crisis to connection work that we do. Look, we've got over 4 decades of marriage, 80 years between us, experiencing firsthand the challenges and joys of a long-term relationship, business, family, you name it. 20 years helping couples transform seemingly hopeless situations, certifications, professional certifications from world-renowned therapy, coaching, leadership institutes. We've even got horticulture science degrees, believe it or not. A proven 90% success rate, dramatically higher than traditional counseling. And we're going to talk about why there's such a difference in success rates. Because while traditional therapy often focus on problems in the past hurts, potentially making things worse, our approach.
It stops relationship breakdown fast. We did it the long way. We're really committed. Most people don't want to take a long time. We'll stop that relationship breakdown fast. We'll rebuild trust systematically. Our approach creates rapid transformation through these 9 proven principles based on 3 pillars. It reignites connection and intimacy and leads to lasting positive change.
Yeah, so let's look at if this sounds like you. So maybe you're really terrified that separation or divorce is becoming a reality. You're dealing with the aftermath of a betrayal or broken trust, and you're living like roommates rather than lovers. You're exhausted from walking on eggshells or enduring that icy cold silence. And you're wondering if you'll ever feel that deep love and connection again. You're lying awake at night, wondering if your relationship is over or what to do.
Our question to you today is, what brought you to this masterclass? Your situation might be different. The pain and fear often feel very much the same. Maybe your partner has mentioned separation or divorce. Maybe trust has been damaged through betrayal. Or you're getting that I love you, but I'm not in love with you speech. Your partner has emotionally checked out, or you're afraid it's too late to save your relationship.
So here's what we want you to know. These aren't actually the real problems. They're symptoms of missing the essential shifts or principles that we're going to talk about with you today. What's more, you can turn this around even if you're the only one trying right now. And the good news, what took us years to figure out, you can achieve in just 90 days using our proven approach. But let's talk about the foundation everything else builds upon, which is integrity.
Yeah, this is a really important principle, integrity, and it absolutely is the bedrock of trust. So we take away completely the moral definition of integrity, and we think about integrity as being whole and complete, coming from the Latin word integer. So think of integrity like a bicycle wheel. It has integrity when all the spokes are in place and properly aligned. Remove even one spoke and it loses integrity,
it does.
becoming unstable and eventually collapsing. Put the spoke back and integrity is restored, and your relationship works exactly the same way. You rebuild trust when your word is whole and complete, when what you say matches what you do. And without this foundation, no amount of trying will create lasting change. So let me share our story. In the early days, Grant would tell me that, say, he'd be home by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I did.
But what would happen? He'd lose track of time thinking, hey, I'm working hard in this business.
I tried to get home by 6.
Yeah, and that I would understand. Eventually, what time would you get home?
I'd get home at, I don't know, it could be 7 or 8 or 9. I'd expect that Chris would understand. And so I wouldn't call. I'll just say, here I am, I was working late, and make up some lame excuse. And I really didn't see how each broken promise was eroding our connection. So what was the impact on you, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. These were the early days and we were really in love. What happened though was that when Grant didn't honour his word, when his actions didn't match what he said, I just couldn't count on him. So sometimes I'd be annoyed, other times I'd make my own plans. And really, we just started to become more disconnected. And looking back now, we can see how this pattern was eroding love, trust, and connection. And when we learned about integrity, everything changed.
Yeah,
and so look, now we both know if we say we'll do something, we'll either do it or we'll communicate the changes immediately and clean up any mess that we've caused. And look, this is a really simple principle. And that has become for us and for the couples that we work with, the absolute foundation for rebuilding trust.
Yeah, so now I'll let you know. I normally get back from squash on time, don't I?
Absolutely.
I'll let you know.
That's right. And the thing is that life happens and sometimes we cannot do what we say we'll do. And that this is where taking away the moral aspect of integrity and making sure that we're honouring our word, we're keeping our word on time as promised, makes such a huge difference, because we both know that we'll do what we say we'll do. And it makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
No, totally. So with this foundation in place, let's explore our transformational model that will stop your relationship breakdown, rebuild trust, and create deep connection, even if your partner has given up. So we're talking about the 3 pillars and some of the principles in our model. Our Aroha Rapid Transformation Model consists of these 3 essential pillars.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Aroha Rapid Transformation Model with its 3 pillars: lead, taking full responsibility for stopping that downward spiral; love, rebuilding trust and deep connection; and live, creating your new future together. So in this masterclass, we're going to talk about these 3 pillars and some of the principles that tap into them. Of course, when you do our programs or you work with us in a mentoring context, then all of these principles will be fully expanded for you. So let's talk about pillar number 1.
Yeah, so pillar number 1 is called lead. So the principle within the pillar is taking 100% responsibility to take the lead and stop the relationship breakdown.
So the biggest mistake keeping couples stuck in crisis is thinking that both partners need to be committed to saving the relationship. And while this seems to make sense, that is exactly the wrong approach. Someone must go first, and that someone can be you. When you take 100% responsibility, you gain the power to stop that downward spiral, even if your partner has at this point given up. It's like letting go of the rope in a tug of war. Suddenly, everything shifts.
So let me share Naomi and Joe's story. So when they first came to us, their relationship seemed beyond repair. Trust had been shattered by an affair and Joe couldn't see any way forward. But then something quite remarkable happened. Joe made this crucial shift. Instead of waiting for Naomi to make things right or trying to fix the past, he asked himself, who do I need to be to create the positive change? So he took responsibility while focusing on being his best self. And this shift created enough momentum that Naomi, who had completely checked out, joined our program too. And today they say we're the best we've ever been in 28 years. While there are still things to work on, now we can work on them together. And it really took Joe not to give up, but to say, look, I'm going to step up and I'm just going to be my best self. And when he started showing up like that, it was no longer talk. It was action, and Naomi could see the change.
Yeah, and that's in the context where another professional had said, look,
yeah, that's right.
This is over. Divorce is the only option. It's amazing when you see how these principles can work together and actually transform not only Joe and Naomi's life, also the ripple effect on their 3 beautiful children and their extended family and their community and their business. Yeah, it has a massive impact. Yeah. So taking 100% responsibility involves stopping the blame game that pushes partners apart, taking control of what you can change, focusing on what you can do something about, leading positive change regardless of your partner's response, creating momentum for reconciliation, breaking the cycle of conflict and disconnection, and taking the first step toward rebuilding trust. Remember, if you're waiting for your partner to change first, you're giving away your power to transform your relationship.
Yeah, so now we move on to pillar number 2, which is love. And the principle that within that pillar is stop the tiger turtle pattern to create more love. So when relationships reach crisis point or there's some sort of frustration, couples often get trapped in a destructive pattern that we call this tiger turtle dance. And understanding this pattern is crucial because it's often the hidden force that pushes couples apart.
And like a tiger and turtle falling in love, you're
Who's the tiger and the turtle?
We'll let you
I
guess.
was the turtle.
It's interesting. These things that actually attracted you in the first instance can start to push you apart. The tiger loved the turtle's stability, and the turtle was drawn to the tiger's passionate energy. But now these same qualities are creating distance. One partner pursues desperately, trying to save the relationship, while the other one withdraws, feeling overwhelmed. The pursuer, the tiger, tries harder, becoming more and more demanding. The withdrawer actually closes their turtle
Is it his shell?
shell. Yeah, absolutely, completely.
Yeah.
And both people, both partners, both the tiger and the turtle, feel hopeless and disconnected. And look, we've lived this pattern ourselves. As Grant said, I was often the tiger. I would move forward determined to resolve issues immediately. Grant, like many turtles, would feel overwhelmed. He'd retreat into his shell, and the more that I pushed, the more distance started to come between us.
Yeah, and while this is a metaphor, tiger turtle, this is actually a fight-flight response. So there's a lot of research behind this, and we're using this analogy because just about every single couple that we work with get caught up in this pattern when there's a frustration. And so the more the tiger pursues, the more the turtle withdraws, and the more they withdraw, the more the tiger pursues to try and make it right. And the more that happens, both parties end up walking on eggshells around each other, get more and more distant over time because they just get sick of fighting and sick of the hurt and the disconnection.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, going back again to Naomi and Joe, looking at their tiger turtle patterns, when we looked at this with them, they saw exactly why they'd reached their crisis point. Naomi, the vibrant tiger, had become so frustrated tapping on Joe's tightly closed, business-focused turtle shell. She sought connection elsewhere, and Joe's natural response was just to retreat even more. But once they understood this pattern, everything changed. They learned to use the stop technique when they were triggered. We'll talk more about that. Are we talking about that in this session?
Oh, it's definitely in our book, and we can talk about that briefly, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it really is just like a traffic light that we actually stop, and there's a few points around that. They learn to make clear requests instead of having assumptions or desperate expectations or demands. They created safety to be able to be vulnerable with each other. They learned to respect each other's natural style and build understanding instead of resentment. Breaking the pattern, this tiger turtle pattern involves, what is your role? Are you the tiger or are you the turtle? Understanding how it's pushing your partner away. Learning new ways to connect that feel safe for both of you. Making clear requests instead of demands. Creating space for real connection.
Yeah, so let's just jump into the stop technique. Like a traffic light, when you're in this pattern, both of you are frustrated, there's some sort of negative energy going on, then the key is for both of you to call stop or pause or whatever word you want to use, and then take some time when you're literally going from orange or red, like a traffic light, back down to green again. And then when you're at green, then you can come forward and communicate better by making a request. Could you please make me a cup of tea when you make yourself one, or something instead of, oh, you never make me a cup of tea. You always make one for yourself. I made you coffee. There's the frustration. And then we'd call stop, and then we'd both walk away. Then I'd come back and we'd just communicate from a more kind and compassionate place.
Yeah, so if you're just thinking about that traffic light picture, that traffic light, green is when you're calm, amber or orange is when you start to notice a change, you start to feel that anxiety or that tension in your stomach. That's the point that we want you to become aware of, so that you don't go to that red, that absolutely where you damage the relationship. So once you become aware that you're at orange, then you're able to use the stop, which is simply stop. It's not set. Use a word, have a agreed word. T is take 3 deep breaths. It's amazing how you can calm down in those 3 deep breaths. O is observe what's happening in your body, the physical sensations. And P is choose to proceed with kindness and compassion. So all the tools and all the activities that we will give you in our book and in our materials, that will super simple and really effective when they're applied.
Yeah, great. No, that's awesome. So pillar number 3 is live. And that principle is creating your best us together. The best me creates the best us. So when you're facing relationship breakdown, it's hard to see past the crisis, right? But here's what we've discovered. Couples who make it back from the brink do something really crucial. They create a best me, and then they choose to live as the best us together. It's like the best version of me and the best version of us that we both commit to creating together.
Yeah, thanks, Grant. So imagine a future where you're both happy, where you're best friends again, you're intimate and connected, and you trust each other and you've got each other's back. That's really what we're looking for in the best us. You're enjoying your family and all of your life together. Isn't that why you got together in the first place? And this is possible as each of you creates and becomes the best me. So then together as 2 best me's, you create the best us and create that future that you've always dreamed about. And this is much less about doing or having and much more about who you are becoming. And this is the essence of the core of the work that we do. This is really a leadership journey, and it goes far beyond traditional counselling.
Yeah, so let us share Naomi and Joe's breakthrough moment. When they could finally look beyond their immediate crisis, they discovered that they both wanted exactly the same thing. Family was everything to them, and Naomi described this as the end of the rainbow. That was her vision, and Joe, this was the rebuild. And here's how they became the best us.
First, they each identified some of their best me roles. One of Naomi's was the calm engager, and Joe described himself as the happy connector. They committed to specific actions. Naomi said she'd include Joe more in family plans, and Joe said he'd make more time away from work. Then they created some daily connection practices, just 10 minutes of focused time together each day that they agreed on. This is also super simple thing that many couples have really found breakthrough, 10 minutes of focused time together. They supported each other's growth, celebrating wins and working through challenges as a team. And they aligned their actions with their shared value of family first and chose to show up as their best me selves consistently, which naturally created their best us.
Yeah, so this brings us to a crucial question. What is the secret that the top 1% of couples who save their relationships and go on to create extraordinary relationships do differently? Because let's face it, 50% of all marriages end up in divorce. The second time round, it's 67%. The third time round, it's 75%. A lot of couples separate. So what is it that the top 1% do differently?
And look, the answer might surprise you. They're resourceful, committed, they take positive action, and they don't try to go it alone. They invest in expert guidance. And here's a hard truth. When your relationship is in crisis, you can't afford to waste time with approaches that don't work. Just as you wouldn't perform your own heart surgery, trying to save your relationship alone by yourself can be a very costly mistake.
Yeah, we learned this the hard way, didn't we? So when we hit crisis point, we just wasted a lot of time trying to figure it out on our own.
When we looked for somebody to help us, we actually couldn't find anybody. If we could have found someone like us, that would have been absolutely awesome.
Yeah, friends and family, that they, of course, see it only your way, that, that they support, they've got your back. It doesn't necessarily help. And traditional counselling, we tried that, and that just reopened the old wounds, talking about the problems in the past. And then you'd make these expensive mistakes trying to figure it out ourselves, doing training and courses and things that really just didn't work. So the key is when you work with a relationship mentor, someone who's done the hard yards themselves, understands business leadership, who understands rapid transformation.
Then you get clarity on exactly what to do first in crisis. You'll avoid those costly mistakes that will push your partner away. You learn proven strategies to connect again that actually work quickly. You stay accountable when things get hard, and they do get hard at times, don't they?
Yeah, life isn't always easy, isn't it?
Yeah, and also you can follow a step-by-step path back to connection, one that's proven. And the investment in proper guidance can save thousands of potential separation.
Costs.
Yeah, that's right. Years of emotional one thing that you really loved was walking Sarah down the aisle, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're there for the grandkids together now, and I in the early days, my vision was just to be there at my daughter's wedding, where Christine and I were together, and now we're together with not only our next daughter's getting married, and we're going to be walking her down the aisle, but very shortly, we're also there for our grandkids together, and that means everything.
Yeah, and that's the legacy of love, that everything that you have built together, and that really matters most.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. So now, what does it look like? I guess the thing is with mentoring, you can do this on your own, and we've got an amazing book that will give you all the resources as well. And it just might take some time, and you might make some mistakes. But if you've left it too long, then you really do need expert guidance. It's a bit like climbing Mount Everest. I wouldn't try that on my own. It's just far too dangerous. And that if your relationship's at crisis point, you just don't have the time that you might have if you're newly married. Well, then get our free resources, buy the book. But if you do want help, then that's what this masterclass is all about.
Yeah, and we talk about a 90-day transformation timeline. So let's just spend a few minutes just talking you through that. Because unlike traditional therapy that can drag on for years, and often things can get worse, the approach that we use creates rapid transformation. And here's exactly how we'll support you to transform your relationship. In the first 30 days, we focus on stop the crisis. Immediately stop that breakdown momentum. Then we'll establish new patterns that rebuild trust. You'll learn the stop technique that we discussed earlier to really prevent further damage. You'll begin to make some strategic trust deposits into your relationship bank account. You'll start to create safety and stability and break those destructive tiger-turtle patterns.
Yeah, so we see really dramatic shifts in this first phase. It's like Naomi and Joe. Within weeks, they went from crisis to meaningful conversations. As Joe said, for the first time, I could see a way forward. It was no longer hopeless. And what we've found is, that there are these common patterns that when you can get those patterns out of the way, and just by using some of these powerful principles we talk about, then it makes all the difference.
Yes, thanks, Clark. We've talked about month 1. Now we're getting into month 2, days 31 to 60. This is where we really focus on rebuilding connection. We look at deepening trust through consistent action, mastering positive communication patterns, healing old wounds without reopening them. So we're not going to be really diving back into the past, but we do need to make space for healing them. We want to reignite emotional intimacy and create your compelling shared vision again, and you'll build new patterns for connection.
Yeah, so days 61 to 90, that's when we're focusing on creating, this is the love phase, we're creating love without limits. We're really building on that intimacy and connection. So we're strengthening your unshakable foundation. We're establishing lasting positive habits. We're navigating challenges with new tools, especially around money and the in-laws. We're deep in intimacy and sex. Yeah, with intimacy and connection. That's the icing on the cake where everyone wants to start. But if you put a cake in the oven with the icing on at the start, it'll be a mess. You've got to do everything in the right order. And then we want to lock in and ensure that you've got lasting positive change that's sustainable over the rest of your life, so that you can go on to create your extraordinary relationship.
Great. And look, throughout this masterclass, we've been talking about Naomi and Joe. And so just another word regarding their situation. They went from crisis to deep connection. And they said, we were done. Trust shattered by an affair and separation seemed inevitable. Today, we're the best we've been in 28 years. While there's still things to work on, now we can work on them together.
And then there's Isabel and Connor, and these are their words from breakdown to breakthrough. There are honestly no words to thank you enough. How do you thank someone for turning your lives and your children's childhood around? We went from the brink of divorce to deeper love than we'd ever known.
The most important decision. Right now, you're possibly at a crucial crossroads. You can continue as you are, hoping things might somehow improve. You can try to figure things out alone, possibly making the same mistakes as we did, or take as long as we did. Or you can take proven action now to create your love without limits relationship.
Yeah, so most couples who wait, they end up growing further apart, they get more resentful, they lose time, they miss the chance to create lasting love, and they eventually face separation or a partnership that just feels lifeless.
So the cost of inaction isn't just emotional. Consider the financial cost of relationship breakdown, the impact on your children and or your grandchildren and other ripples into your business, the toll on your health and being, the lost opportunities for love and connection, and the regret of not trying when you had a chance.
And it really doesn't have to be this way. So Amy and Joe, we use that example, representative of literally hundreds, thousands of our clients. In just 90 days, they went from no trust to deep connection, separate lives to shared dreams, this crisis to them saying, now we're the best we've ever been.
So our gift to you is we've spent decades learning these principles the hard way.
Yeah, also.
You don't have to. Today we're offering you the opportunity to skip the years of trial and error, avoid the common mistakes, get some expert guidance, create rapid transformation, and build lasting love.
Yeah, so what are the next steps? We've set aside a limited number of spots to speak with couples ready to transform their relationships. So this is if you're ready. And this complimentary strategy session will help you really get crystal clear on what your unique challenges are right now. And then what we'll do is we'll create a vision for you creating love without limits, the relationship you've always dreamed and wanted. And then we're going to develop a custom action plan for you to move forward.
So this is for you if you value your relationship and you see it as priceless, or you once did and you want to give it a go. You're ready to invest in positive change. You're willing to take action rather than just hope that things might someday improve. You can make decisions without having to wait for your partner, and you're committed to creating lasting love.
And really, it's not for you. If there's physical abuse in your relationship, you need to address that first and any addiction issues. Otherwise, there's really just safety and boundary problems, issues. And it's not for you if you just want to blame your partner for everything. And you're not you can't change anyone else. You can only change yourself. And if you're not willing to invest in change, it
takes action, doesn't it? We've got to be resourceful, open, and ready for action if nothing changes.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for listening. And if you want to schedule a strategy session with us, click on the link below. You can email me also at grantwatty.com.
And look, remember, love is a choice. Your extraordinary relationship begins the moment that you choose it. Why wait another day to create the connection that you truly desire?
Thanks, everyone, and bye for now.
Bye, everyone.